We spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos about Morocco before we traveled there. We couldn't help but notice that most of these videos are made by reasonably young people. So we decided to make our own. We're not young, but we decided to travel for a month with backpacks and only the vaguest idea of where we were going. So welcome to our traveling series, where you can watch short, to-the-point videos showing each place that we went to. Enjoy. We went to Fez from Chefchaouen by CTM bus. The journey took about 5 hours. As both places are frequented by legions of tourists, there are 4 buses a day, and the trip was entirely uneventful, as traveling by public transit should be, don't you think? We stayed in an Airbnb in Chefchaouen and loved it. Because of this, we decided to do the same in Fez and booked an Airbnb in the old city. All right, so we've now arrived in Fez.
We
We are in Fez, and we're staying at an Airbnb that is remarkable because there's only 2 of us, and yet there are how many bedrooms? Is it 3 or 4? Possibly 4 bedrooms. And we've met the caretaker Abderrazak next door. And now we have arrived in this amazing place. Our place was huge and way over the top for 2 people. This being said, it was an amazing place to spend a few days. It needed a good cleaning, but this is the way it goes sometimes with Airbnbs. We really appreciated the kitchen so we could enjoy some good breakfast before going out into the town for the day. When staying in Fez, it makes perfect sense to stay in the old Medina, as this is the area where you'll probably be spending most of your time. This being said, there is a very high population density in this area. You may feel a bit exhausted after a few days just because there's so much activity here. It is possible, of course, to stay outside in the more modern city, but we think you'd be missing out. Just prepare yourself for large, jostling crowds in very tight spaces. Like elsewhere in Morocco, Fez has many, many wonderful places to eat. As we were there during Ramadan, it was slightly more complicated, but we never really had a problem finding an open restaurant. Here, you'll find delightful places to eat, occupying rooftop terraces with amazing views, and everything from small one-table cafes to high-end restaurants. The main thing to do in Fez is to get lost in its incredible medieval Medina. Days will go by where you'll still find yourself gawking at the sights and smells of the place. For those of you who like shopping, this is the place to be. We visited 2 spots that were truly remarkable. The first is Al-Atarin Madrasa. It was amazing because it didn't have as many packaged tourists, yet was a truly beautiful structure. It was a nice break from the crowds outside. The second amazing place that you have to see was slightly out of the Medina, called the Palais Glaoui. This is a truly bizarre place, watched over by an eccentric artist called Abdul. We had to wake him up to get in, and then we almost had the run of the place, as really there was no one there. It's remarkable, if somewhat tired palace, and well worth an hour or 2 of your time. It seems one of the most popular tourist attractions in Fez is the tannery area. So, feeling like this was something we had to see and experience, we walked there one afternoon. We knew we were close when we started meeting legions of touts trying to get us to follow them to shops. While certainly annoying, this was nothing compared to the sensory onslaught of rotten meat and skin that hits your nose. The smell was so bad and the experience so unpleasant, we pulled the plug as quickly as possible and got out of there. In our month-long stay in Morocco, this was easily the most unpleasant experience. The tannery area can only be described as a horrific tourist trap to be avoided at all costs. We were surprised by how large the Medina was. Of course, we had read about it and watched numerous videos, but the sheer number of people and shops and alleyways took us by surprise. It can all be a little bit intimidating, but after a while, you'll learn to go with the flow. We are also surprised by what a horrible place the tannery was. Have we mentioned that yet? The ancient Medina in Fez has a large number of people in relatively small spaces. We had read that pickpockets are an issue in the more crowded areas, and so we were very careful with our stuff. We had our backpack in the front. My wallet and phone were in zippered pockets. As we were walking through some narrow alleyways, Marilyn could feel probing hands in her backpack trying to find something valuable. Because we were careful, we had no problem. Like anywhere else on Earth, teenage boys can be a bit precocious, and on our first day, Marilyn had her butt grabbed by a laughing 12-year-old boy. We generally found the young kids in Fez to be a little feral. Fez is one of the world's great ancient cities. For people interested in history, it is remarkable in every way. For people interested in shopping, it's a place where you can buy anything all day long, every single day. It has some truly amazing sights and some shockingly smelly tourist traps. It's an amazing place to spend a few days and really cannot be missed when in Morocco.